Warning. This video contains super awesome content not suitable for people who don't enjoy super awesomeness. Viewer discretion advised.
Welcome to Viewer's Choice. Your selection is about to begin. But first, take a look at what else you can see this week.
Hey, dudes, inviting you to travel through time. First stop, a long layover at the video store.
Bogus.
Wait, you've got Viewer's Choice.
Excellent.
Hello, you rotten little bloodsuckers.
America's most popular now. Get extra value. $12.50 cash back.
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. What? Say what again?
What should I do? Like that?
When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad! I don't want your damn lemons! What am I supposed to do with these? Demand to see life's manager. Make life rue the day and thought it could give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's gonna burn your house down with the lemons.
This is my ship, the Nebuchadnezzar. This is the core. We broadcast our pirate signal back into the Matrix.
Welcome to the Nebuchadnezzar with your hosts, Anesto Morado, the double-headed coin, and your co-host, Pablo Morado, the Thunderbolt. Together, we are the Pyramid Podcast.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Fauci, you were quoted on CBS Face the Nation saying it's easy to criticize, but they're really criticizing science. As you don't know what you represent. But this, as director of the NIH, you did sign off on these so-called scientific experiments. And as a dog lover, I want to tell you this is disgusting and evil, what you signed off on. And these experiments that happened to beagles paid for by the American taxpayer. And I want you to know Americans don't pay their taxes for animals to be tortured like this. So the type of science that you are representing, Mr. Fauci, is abhorrent.
Yes, there have been everything from harassments by emails, texts, letters of myself, my wife, my 3 daughters. There have been credible death threats leading to the arrests of 2 individuals. And credible death threats mean someone who clearly was on their way to kill me. And it's required my having protective services essentially all the time. It is very troublesome to me. It is much more troublesome because they've involved my wife and my 3 daughters.
At these moments, how do you feel? Keep your mic on.
Terrible.
And make no mistake, the autocrats of the world are watching closely to see what happens in Ukraine. To see if we let this illegal aggression go unchecked. We cannot let that happen. To surrender to bullies, to bow down to dictators is simply unthinkable. Were we to do that, it means we'd be forgetting what happened here in these hallowed beaches. Make no mistake, we will not bow down. We will not forget. Let me end with this. History tells us freedom is not free. If you want to know the price of freedom, come here to Normandy. Come to Normandy and look. Go to the other cemeteries in Europe where our fallen heroes rest. Go back home to Arlington Cemetery. Tomorrow, I will pay respects at Pointe du Hoc. Go there as well and remember, the price of unchecked tyranny is the blood of the young and the brave.
We're gonna beat these people. Now I'm trying to be dramatic here, but it's been a hard fight. These people hate our children.
This is the most banned podcast on the internet with your hosts, Anesto and Pablo Morado. Stay tuned to get the scoop on current events, conspiracies, and paranormal phenomenon as we fly on the hovercraft, the Nebuchadnezzar, through the mystical forest of Narnia, broadcasting to you live, despite the efforts of the powers that be.
On television the other day, flinching in the third person.
Well, there are a lot of Republican senators taking aim at this.
I mean, that's okay. I'm just going to do my job. And I'm going to be saving lives, and they're going to be lying. There's a distinct anti-science flavor to this. So if they get up and criticize science, nobody's going to know what they're talking about. But if they get up and really aim their bull Tony Fauci, well, people could recognize there's a person there, so it's easy to criticize, but they're really criticizing science because I represent science.
Welcome to the Nebuchadnezzar with your hosts, Anesto and Pablo Morado. Welcome to the most banned podcast on the internet. Tonight,
people hate our children.
We're going to be going over what's going on with Dr. Fauci, what's going on with Mr. Hunter Biden, what's going on with President Donald Trump, and much, much more. UFO news coming, and much, much more. So many different news coming in, all coming in at once to distract you folks, to distract you. This is episode number 95. We're almost there to 100. Thank you all for joining. And we got a comment early on. Yo, by Walking Blunder. Yo to you too.
Yo. Welcome to the Paranormal Podcast, everybody. We have an explosive show today.
That's right.
As always, we're at the cusp. We're finding all the little nuances of the political politics of the day and of the week. There's a lot of things going on, as you heard. We are exposing the evil Fauci.
They're banning our podcast.
Yes.
We can't get this stream out. So
the destruction of Alex Jones. We will not let that happen.
That's right. So, welcome
everybody to the Paranormal Podcast. And as with every beginning of our show, we start off with the...
That's right.
Thank you for the 100. Wow, 100. Wow, 100 simp coins.
Lo sabía que era otra pregunta. Tú nunca te quedas ahí, ¿no, verdad? Siempre con el dinero.
You know what I'm saying? How you think a nigga's supposed to get this shit? This shit money don't grow on trees. Shit don't fall out of the sky, nigga.
Come on, man.
Wow, 100 simp coins. Wow,
How you think a nigga's niggas supposed to get this shit. This shit don't, money don't grow on trees. Shit don't fall out the sky, nigga.
Yes, it doesn't fall out the sky. Really
Please
quickly.
deposit 5 coins.
Really quickly, for those that are watching this cast, if you go to paramin.store, I'm actually going to do this for you. I'm going to go to paramin.store. Hold on, let me just open up a new window. So I want to share this on screen really quickly here because we got a lot of news, so we got to move through things really quickly here. All right, so if you can see this, can you see my screen, Mr. Morado?
Yes, I see.
Right. So if you type in paramin.store, we got something new on the store there. I don't know if you noticed, but we got ourselves, let's see here. Oh, win a discount. So we got now a discount spin wheel on our store.
I like that. I like that.
All you need to do is type in your email and your first name. You can get $10 off, 5% off, 10% off, free shipping. So there's no loss here. There's nothing that you're going to lose, but only to gain by putting in your email with this little spin wheel. And it's as simple as this. So I'm going to put in this email. I'm going to put in Pablo Morado, and then you just submit and spin the wheel, and there it goes. And here we go. $10 off. There's your offer coupon. If you're watching this now, this is for me and me alone. But nonetheless, if you go ahead and put in that email and your first name, you'll be able to get 10% or $10 or 5% or any prize. And we're going to be adding to those slices on that spin wheel as time goes on. Additionally, if you go over, if you click on our most popular product, which is the Brain Boost, right? You go down and you're going to see here that there's an option for a one-time purchase or subscribe and save 50% on our supplements. So if you're looking at $29.99, that's a little bit too pricey. If you're planning on buying this every single month, well, get 50% off to subscribe and forget about it. It comes right to your door. You get your Brain Boost every single month. No need to bug me for more supplements. Just go onto the website and subscribe. And that subscription is going to only get better. We're going to work on ways that we can have a gummy pack where you can have all the 12 gummies that are coming soon and in one drop. So that way you can get a monthly payload of supplements at a fraction of the cost. So this way you can support your body and support the cast. So we're working on ways to bring more and more value to you folks. Hopefully you see the value that we're bringing. And now, again, you're not buying these supplements because they're going to support the podcast. You're buying these supplements because of what they do for your body. The turmeric relief, we had 2 bottles in this house, gone. Every time I buy the Brain Boost, it goes faster than I can take the vitamins. It just goes till it gets dispersed. Everybody was clamoring for these Brain Boosts. Instead of borrowing or looking to get some from me, go ahead and get your own bottle right here on Paramin.store. Same goes for the Optimal Multivitamin. I mean, people need multivitamins. You're not going to get all the necessary things that you need in just your diet alone. So why not have a nice multivitamin gummy that supplements your diet and gets you all the vitamins and nutrition that you need? And, you know, with the turmeric gummies, I mean, it's pain relieving. Turmeric is very good for your joints, very good for anti-inflammatory. And same thing with the Joint Guard. You know, it comes with a lot of wonderful product, proprietary blends that basically help support your joints. You know, it's basically, it says here, we got our joint support gummies, are a delicious way to get in the necessary level of glucosamine that your body needs to replenish cartilage. So that's what you need, folks. The glucosamine is important to replenish your cartilage and tendon tissues around the joints. while also increasing the fluid around the joints to prevent their breakdown. So this is why you need the joint guard, folks. You need this for your overall aid in repairing your body. As the body ages, joints start to ache because of the breakdown of cartilage around the joint. For some, this creates severe discomfort. Cartilage breakdown is more apparent in athletes who push their bodies to the limit. So if you are an entrepreneur, if you're an athlete, or if you're just somebody that is looking to extend their longevity so that they can enjoy their life more. I mean, I'm a healthy guy. We're healthy guys, right?
Yes,
you know,
we are.
We cannot stay healthy for very long, because the man upstairs has a plan, and the healthy guys, unfortunately, don't make it all the way to the end of the game, if you know what I mean. So, in order for you to stay active, I mean, how disappointing is it that you can't, play a game with your son or daughter because your joints hurt, or you can't go on a roller coaster because you're too big for the seat, or you can't do certain things because your body simply is not equipped to handle some of the things that you were able to do effortlessly while you were younger. Well, fight back. Life is tough. The stress goes high. We're entrepreneurs. We're struggling to make names for ourselves, to put profit in our pockets, and we're alongside you. We are with you. We understand, and we're coming up with ways and methods that are going to not only help us get to our pinnacle of health, but as we're doing it, grow alongside with us and get to your pinnacle of health. If you're looking to stay active and do things, I mean, the other day I was running on the treadmill, and I was really upset at myself because you know what? There's nothing more freeing than to know that you can run for 30 minutes to an hour without having to worry about your breath, without having to worry about your lungs and your knees and your body. It's such a freeing thing to say to yourself, wow, I can still do this. Fight back, folks. Don't let the unrelenting demon of death come for you. He's coming for you, and you got to fight back, folks, because otherwise he's going to take you like he took a lot of people in 2020, and he's gearing up to take a lot more. So, and especially nowadays when we don't know, the future is uncertain. I mean, we got movies portraying that we might be in a civil war at a time where you're going to need to be able to run. I mean, I remember there was a time growing up with you, Mr. Anesto.
Yes.
Where you I don't know if you still do this, but you tie your shoes to a certain way to ensure that if you have to run,
they don't come off.
They don't come off, right? So what good is it if you're not even able to run with the shoes or without the shoes? I mean, because your joints are hurting and it's impossible to do certain things. Like I saw a video of someone trying to get out of the way of a oncoming bus, and they were so unhealthy that they simply couldn't run out of the way. Somebody had to push them out of the way because of how in pain they were to just, try to sprint out of the way of an oncoming bus. You don't want to be that person, folks. This is why we're doing it. So again, I say all this to say you're buying the supplements. Yes, it supports the cast. Yes, it does great for us, but you're doing it for yourself. That's the primary reason, because you want to have more longevity and be able to enjoy your life as opposed to feel the pain of doing the things that come along with life. So this is what we're here for, and the more we can supply supplements that could aid you in that endeavor, just reach out. If there's something that we're missing, or there's something you feel that we need, please reach out, because we are planning to grow and expand our library of supplements to ensure that we have left no stone unturned to ensure that your body is well covered with our brand. Do you have anything to add?
Yes, as for people that don't speak English and they're listening to our cast, nosotros tenemos vitaminas. Let me switch the camera over here. Tenemos vitaminas en nuestra página Paramin.store, right?
Mm-hmm.
Si ustedes van a Paramin.store, van a ver nuestra línea de vitaminas de muchas para las coyunturas, dolores de las coyunturas, mucho para mejorar su vida, para el corazón. Tenemos una fórmula de turmeric que es muy buena otra vez para la coyuntura, dolores de músculos. Tenemos vitamina K2 y D3 que es buena para los huesos, para el corazón. Si ustedes van a Paramin.store, PARAMID.store,
No, not D-N. Paramin.
Oh, ¿verdad? Paramin.store, S-T-O-R-E.
This is a SAP program for those that are watching in Spanish.
Sí.
And for those that are watching, because predominantly a lot of our fans, especially on Instagram, happen to be Portuguese.
Obrigado.
But unfortunately, we can't give the whole spiel because we don't know.
Now, it's funny. I'm experiencing something like a little funny over here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to like putting in Spanish translator, right? And then I click. It says English to Spanish translator, right? Let me put online. Right? And official get free. I'm not getting it for some reason.
No?
It just keeps taking me to website to website. I click it. Okay. Now it hit. Let's see. Let's see to Spanish. When I want to translate, Espanol. Let's see it.
Exactly what are you trying to translate here?
I want to know how to say internet in Spanish.
It's the same. Internet.
Uh-huh. O web page. Página de internet.
La página de internet.
Ok, entonces, si quieren ver nuestra línea de vitaminas, ustedes van a nuestra página de internet y es paramin.store. Paramin.store. Y ahí están todas las vitaminas que nosotros vendemos para gente, para atletas que hacen ejercicio, para gente que tiene dolor en los músculos y la coyuntura, y para la gente que quiere proteger sus huesos y su corazón. Tenemos muchas fórmulas. También tenemos nuestra preferida línea de hongos que la gente no sabe, pero el hongo tiene muchos beneficios para el cuerpo humano y nosotros tenemos muchas vitaminas, son fácil para coger porque son como, how do I say gummy in Spanish?
Gummy? That's a good question.
Son tabletas que no son tabletas, son
candy.
Parecen candies, parecen dulces. Uno se lo come como un dulce y es una manera bien agradable para coger sus vitaminas. Pero con eso vamos a comenzar el programa.
Pegajosa.
Pegajosa.
Es a gummy. Pegajosa.
Ok, entonces tenemos con unos dulces pegajosa que tienen toda
Pegajoso.
o pegajoso, que son muy buenos para que uno se lo come como un dulce, pero no es un dulce, es vitaminas. Tenemos muchas vitaminas con hongos, que el hongo es muy fuerte para el cuerpo, le hace muchos beneficios. Si ustedes van a la página internet paramin.store, van a ver todas. Y tenemos hasta programas, si quieren hacer una orden y no tienen el dinero disponible, ellos hay maneras en nuestra página donde usted puede coger como un pagaré, un plan de pagaré, no tiene que pagarlo inmediatamente, lo puede pagar a plazo, así te puede coger un paquete con todas las vitaminas que se necesitan.
All right. So that SAP, Spanish as a second language, for those that are watching, this is not going to be totally in Spanish, but we're doing this for our Spanish brethren that are watching because we know you're out there.
Absolutely.
So with that being said here, we have a lot of news to get through, but I wanted to start off with something that I found a little unconventional, but it's something that I think is very interesting to bring up. So I found this little Instagram photo, and I think it's a great thing to bring up at the start of the cast, because that way we can preface this cast with this photo here, and to give people a little idea of what is really going on. Because as we talk about all the news stories and things like that, again, we have Donald Trump is on our suspect board of who's really the unseen hand. You have Elon Musk. You have a lot of people, Jeff Bezos on this board. So Donald Trump is not absolved from anything. You know, we're not totally Trumpers. We're not MAGA people. We're just people that want to have the country in a state where it is thriving, as opposed to being robbed and giving all our fortunes and all our wonderful assets, our mindsets and our things, exporting.
We just want somebody better at the helm than what we have now.
For sure. But at the end of the day, the ideal version of America is that we support our own, we are growing, we are successful, and we are helping each other, reach the level of, the American dream that everybody comes here for, right? What's the point of coming here when it's not even obtainable, right?
Right. And the ultimate goal of an American is not to lay around and be fed by the government.
No.
Our ultimate goal is to pick us up from our bootstraps, go to work, thrive, be with your family, eventually be homeowners.
Right.
So that we can provide for our families a place to live.
Right.
And that dream is getting further and further away, especially under this administration. Say what you want to say about Donald Trump. The American dream was more attainable under his administration than what is going on now. Now we have crime going out of control. We have inflation to the point that nobody's buying homes. Everybody's relegated to renting and waiting for this inflation to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to the supermarket,
I don't know if it ever goes down, but
it was pretty high when Trump came in. It was at like 5 or 6. You brought it down to 1.5, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
When
the
Donald
interest rate, you mean?
The interest rate, yeah.
Not the inflation rate.
The interest rate,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, the interest rate. Inflation
is a different.
It's a different story.
Yeah.
But it's the interest rates that are killing us.
Right.
You go to the supermarket, During the Trump administration, you could buy a dozen of eggs for under $3. Now there are places that have been reported eggs are up to $10 a dozen.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because here's a picture that I had here for you, and it coincides with what you're saying here. So, here's the picture. See if you can see this here.
So it's not that we're Trumpers. We just picking the lesser of two evils. And under Donald Trump, our pockets were better. That's
Right.
all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We were stronger economically and internationally, as far as our.
Well, from my perspective, the reason I'm liking Trump is because he's taken a big stick to the White House and saying, all y'all people that have been robbing from the American public got to go.
Right.
We got to drain this swamp. That's
Right.
why I like him. That's why I like him. I mean, everything else is a nice to have, but I would vote for any Republican or any Democrat that has that aim of draining those never elected people that go in and just suck our taxpayers' dollars. Exactly. Suck us dry. They say, the only thing you can is there's two things you can't escape in this life, and that's death and taxes. But I've been doing a little dicking, and taxes wasn't always a thing.
What do you mean?
Taxes, America ran perfectly fine without taxes.
How many podcasts haven't I said where the infrastructure that we have today, for example, Route 66, all these highways that crisscross America, street lights, the infrastructure that we enjoy and take for granted, that was built at the turn of the century, where there were no taxes.
Right. And just to show everybody, when did taxes come?
Wasn't it during the Roosevelt administration that he introduced taxes?
So let's see here.
During the 1940s?
So in 1913.
1913.
The 16th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was ratified in 1913, giving Congress the power to levy an income tax on individuals.
Oh, 1913. Why did I think it was in the 1940s?
This amendment was passed in response to the Supreme Court's decision in the 1895 case of Pollock versus Farmers Loan and Trust Co., which declared federal income tax unconstitutional. So, they made an amendment in 1913 to rob you, basically, of your income and take a percentage off the top of your income and calling it income tax. So the reason
that was during the President Woodrow Wilson administration.
Right. So now, bringing this back up on stage here, and let me see if...
But before you say it, the infrastructure that we enjoy today, think of America back in the mid 1800s, right? No roads. All you saw was farms,
right?
Dirt roads, forests, right? Then the Industrial Revolution happens, and we start building roads that crisscross America. We did it without taxes. That was done without taxes.
Right.
Right? Then taxes come along. I'm not opposed if the taxes are used in the proper manner. Because if we pay taxes
But
And
I
now
don't
we're-
think that's ever a possibility, because when you give people money, money corrupts, and then they never use it for the proper manner.
Well, in theory, it's a fantastic idea.
But it's romantic, not practical.
Romantic, but not possible. Why? Because these demons, these vampires, they rob us to enrich themselves.
Right.
And our tax dollars don't amount to the sacrifice we put out.
Right.
This
The infrastructure gets outsourced, and we're paying Ukraine, we're paying Israel, we're paying people overseas.
We're paying Israel, we're paying Ukraine. That's one thing. But when you start digging and you start finding out that we're also paying our enemies.
Of course.
Iran, Saddam Hussein.
Yes.
Our boy that, brought down supposedly the Twin Towers. What's this guy's name? My mind. I need to get some brain boost.
Osama bin Laden.
Osama bin Laden. He was paid by us. A guy who comes from a very wealthy family.
And for those folks that are like, what are these people saying? Look into the fact that the one family, the one flight that was able to get out during that time period was a Saudi Arabian family, and it was the family of Osama bin Laden.
He was able to the only flight that was able to fly and pick up all his relatives
and go back
home.
But with that being said, let's go over this real quickly here. So let me bring this up here. So it says here, 1960s, oil, this is what the headline is. Oil gone in 10 years, right? That's what they were saying in the 1960s. 1970s, another ice age in 10 years, right? That's what they were saying in the 70s. Ice age. Remember how we went back?
I remember I crossed the Bering Straits on skis.
Right. In 1980s, acid rain will destroy all crops in 10 years. In 1990s, the ozone layer will be gone in 10 years. In the 2000s, ice caps will be gone in 10 years. None of that happened, but all resulted in more taxes. And the headlines are, the thing above the caption says, "Are you awake yet?" Are you realizing that everything they do, all these bills and things, all are a result to pulling out more money from your pocket and putting it into theirs?
Example of, 1960 oil is gone. 1970s, another ice age. 1980s, acid rain. 1990s, the ozone layer. 2000, the ice caps, right? Just look at the career of Al Gore. How he went from a regular politician, Joe Schmo, to becoming extremely wealthy with this global warming lie that they are propagating. We are at fault.
Right.
We're ruining the planet.
Right.
Not giving merit to the fact that the earth goes through its ebbs and flows.
For sure. And I think the message should have been that we at the time collectively were over polluting the planet, carelessly throwing our trash into the street. Not, people would just launch stuff out their window, like carelessly, just who cares, and just throw things out the window of their car in the freeway or whatever.
Oh, that is still happening.
Right, that still happens, right? The message shouldn't have been global warming at large. The message should be, take care of where we live. I mean, that's we say this in where I work all the time. Like, because when people do or acting messy in the office, you say to them like, "Is this how you are in your own house? Is this how you take care of your stuff?" Right? The same thing in here with the globe. Is this how you are with your own house? You just dump, all like fish nets and all kinds of stuff in the ocean, and you just carelessly pollute. I mean, there's an island of trash.
Everything starts at home.
Of course. If we could just change the message to,
I have a little sunroom that I cherish. Why? Because I didn't have that sunroom 2 years ago.
Right.
I was living in an apartment, and I had no backyard. I was living with other people, in the complex I was living in. I would say it houses about 100 families, right? I really didn't have privacy. I could hear my neighbors through the door. Here comes the Cheeto man into power, allows me to buy a home, right? So now this is my home. We call it Narnia because we're living in an ecosystem. Narnia is alive. It's a microcosm of what the earth is. We live within a forest. We're very fortunate to live within this forest. And this forest is ours. We bought it and it's ours. It's a lot of work, but it's ours. And right now it's overgrown because I just don't have the time or the energy to trim it down. But if I pollute where I live and I start throwing trash everywhere, this ecosystem that I am living in will crumble. So I have this little sunroom. It's my smoke room. I go there, I chill, I smoke. I take care of it. I make sure everything in there is clean because it's where I decompress. But if I trash it out, then I don't have that space to decompress.
Right.
So we got to take care of our planet, right? And the citizens of this planet, we must make an effort. But it's disingenuous when these big corporations tell us we must take care of our planet, right? And they're dumping on the DL all these chemicals into the ground, into the water system. I just saw a documentary about Teflon and the DuPont company.
Yep. Teflon and the DuPont.
They're the ones that, we got to clean the plant, but yet they are doing their dirtiness on the side.
Right.
So Al Gore is telling us, we're responsible for the destruction of the ozone layer. We're responsible for global warming. But yet you are traversing the planet in a private jet.
Right.
That's contributing to the thing that you are railing against.
Right. And I just think, it's not scientific to predict with certainty an outcome like global warming when
and one more thing I must say, just because you're poor, and I've had this conversation many times with the Warlock. Where I come from, we're hillbillies. Your lineage is hillbillies. We grew up on a mountain in the Dominican Republic. Dirt poor. We had nothing but the little piece of land that we owned. But if you went there, it was immaculate. It was clean. We had a small home, but it was clean. So just because you're poor, don't give you a carte blanche to be dirty.
Right.
And destroying where you live.
And then when you do that, DR is a perfect example because on one side of the island, you have Haiti, which they trashed their place, and they're not comfortable being there. They're fleeing there because why? You trash your place, you get what you do. Like you reap what you sow.
I don't understand. I really don't understand the correlation of poverty and being dirty. Because you're poor doesn't mean you got to be dirty.
Right.
We don't have anything, right? If you're poor, you don't have anything. But why is it that when you go to these, favelas and places where poverty exists, there's dirt everywhere. There's trash. I mean, I understand, to be honest, I don't understand. You can find bags anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Be clean. And if we take an effort on our part not to throw things into the street, not to throw things into the water, not to pollute, we're doing our job. But the corporations don't adhere to that.
No. That's why they go to China, which is the most egregious country in pollution out of all of us.
Yeah, and it's not a conspiracy theory where these companies, donate all this money, to politicians, so that we could have electric cars, electric charging stations, and solar panels. But then they're the ones digging holes and dumping stuff into the ground, dumping chemicals into the water. So, but I digress.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, we've digressed, but the main thing is take care of where we live. You don't have to wait for or buy into global warming or ozone layer or all these things and have your taxpayer dollars pay for this mysterious cure or regulation. All you have to do is clean up after yourself. Is that really all that difficult?
Some people do find it difficult. Some people,
they
like to shat where they eat, and they like to shat where they sleep.
That's evident. That's evident. I mean,
but you don't have to go and adopt a highway. You don't have to be part of a movement. You start at home. Start off small. You start at home, keep a clean home, keep a clean property. And from there on, everything will correct itself. But if we're doing it, the corporations got to follow, in the same fashion, not start, digging and dumping barrels of chemicals in the ground and in the water. And that's our main problem.
Yeah. So
taxes, we pay taxes so that, all this the cogs in the engines can work. But only a small percentage goes to the infrastructure. The rest goes into politicians' pockets and to bribe people abroad. We're bribing people. Don't attack. We'll give you this money. That's not the way to operate, in my opinion.
Right. It's not the way to operate, but here we are, and we need to find better solutions. But the only way, I was listening to a program, I think it was a podcast, and one of the things they say is, the reason why we're in the state of disrepair that the United States is in is because when good men do nothing, evil thrives. And that's what's going on. Good men did nothing, and evil thrived. And now good men have to take control and do something about it.
It's a vicious cycle, because how does that thing go?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Weak men bring hard times. Hard times bring hard men. Hard men bring good times. Good times bring weak men. Weak men bring hard times, and so on and so forth.
Look what's going on in Sweden. In Sweden, relatively a safe place, right? But they're being good people. They accepted all these immigrants from Africa, from the Middle East, and now they got a gang problem. So deep is the problem in Sweden that the gangsters are taking over because the police are just too weak.
Right.
But
when good men do nothing.
And initially it was, they took them in out of the goodness of their heart.
Right.
And now they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Right.
So,
and I have an article here that goes into what we were saying about, just clean up your own neighborhood, clean up after yourself, right? And don't do what North Korea is doing. So, did you hear what North Korea just did to South Korea?
No, I am not aware.
All right, so I'm gonna put this up on screen here. This is, this is like a George Carlin skit that North Korea did. So they went ahead. I don't know if you can see that on screen. Can you see that on screen? Okay.
Yes, I can.
So North Korea. Oh, let's put it over here.
North Korea sent trash balloons to South Korea. Activists are sending balloons back with K-pop and K-dramas.
Yeah. So they sent over. North Korea sends over 1,000 balloons carrying trash. And they sent it across the border to South Korea. Can you believe this? Like, this is the things that they do in this modern day. This is
what
a
that
real
reminds
news
me
story.
of? I'm going to be transparent.
Do you know what it reminds me of? George Carlin's bit feeding rubber bands to the dogs so they can. Woo!
Well, I want to be transparent, and it goes like this. When I was, younger, and when you're young, you do stupid things, right? They had given me a dog, right? And I had my dog. I loved my dog, but of course, dogs do.
Right.
And it was me as a kid. It was my parents said, "You want a dog?
You gotta take care.
You gotta take care of it. Clean after it." So I said, "Oh, absolutely. I love my dog, and I'm gonna take care of him. And when he does his thing, I'm gonna take care of it. And I'm gonna." So what I relegated to doing this is what stupid kids do. Thank God that I had a very understanding neighbor, right? I went to the store, got my stacks of newspaper, old newspaper, right? Every time my dog did his thing, I would pick it up with the newspaper, fling it over the fence. Every time Tiger did his thing, I would wrap up the do, fling it over the fence.
So you were doing a North Korea.
I was doing a North Korea. And then my neighbor, God bless his heart, because that would have happened to me. Now, I would have went over there with a stick and be like, "Who in the F is doing this?"
Or you just get a trash truck or a truck of manure.
Yeah, I would have. I wouldn't have gone I wouldn't have been as understanding as my neighbor.
Right.
But people sometimes give you lessons in life, and he understood that this was a kid doing. This wasn't my parents ordering me to do it. He understood I was cutting corners. He came over to me and said, "Listen, do you have a dog?" I said, "Yes." He goes, Can I go to your property and see where your dog lives?" And I said, "Why?" That's because I want to make sure you're taking care of your dog properly. I said, "Okay." He came to my house. At the time, my backyard, I didn't have access to my backyard from the outside, so I had to bring him inside my house. I knew my neighbor. This guy is a really cool dude. Actually, I've always wanted to go fishing with him because he was a fisherman.
Okay.
We go fishing every weekend. So he came into my house, went into my backyard, and he looked at my backyard. He was like, "You have a nice, clean backyard." I said, "You got a dog house. I see no poo here. You're doing a good job. But one problem. You're flinging it over You're flinging your doo over to my property. Now, I'm doing your job. Do the right thing.
Right.
Do the right thing. And don't sling your poo over my fence. Come on now."
Well, North Korea did not get that message. So.
And I was so embarrassed that I stopped cutting corners. And, thank God for that neighbor for being so understanding. He taught me a lesson. Taught me a lesson. And that's a lesson for us all. We see somebody, especially somebody young, do that. Tell them, "Dude, you're not doing the right thing." And I go through it all the time. As everybody knows who listens to the show, I am a rideshare driver. I do it full time. And some people, they think that they can come into my car with a plate of barbecue and start chowing down in my car. And I'm like, "Do you eat in your car if you had one? Come on now. Come on, use common sense. You ain't gonna eat inside somebody's private vehicle."
Yeah, I mean that's
have common sense.
Yeah, that's not courteous.
It starts off small. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so
now North Korea is dumping their trash. They're not even dealing with their trash. They're putting him on balloons.
South Korea says it may suspend a landmark military agreement with North Korea following the barrage of trash-filled balloons that have floated across the border from the north. The South Korean military says that in the past week, something like 1,000 trash balloons have been sent from North Korea. CNN's Mike Valerio has more on one of the strangest ever outbreaks of cross-border hostilities.
Well, we're going to start with that military agreement that now could be in trouble because of this balloon drama between North Korea and South Korea. So the agreement was made in September of 2018 between the North and the South. And what they essentially said they were going to do is pull back their respective militaries ever so slightly from their activities in the DMZ in order to build up trust. Fast forward to now and everything that we're witnessing here, South Korea says that so much of that trust from their point of view is gone and they want to perhaps fully suspend this military
That's
agreement.
your neighbor.
So that's the diplomatic dimension. The human dimension, though, we have 26 million people thereabouts in Greater Seoul, this huge metropolis. And if you put yourself in their shoes, seeing perhaps, one of these balloons descend from the sky, hitting a car, landing on your local school grounds, having hazmat teams inspect these balloons all weekend long to see what is in them, what, if any, kind of waste is in them. It has certainly left a lasting impression with so many people. Here's just a sample of what we've heard.
소름 끼쳤죠.
I had goosebumps. It felt like a childish prank. I was surprised to hear about it.
Why are they sending things like this? I'm worried that they might send something dangerous.
So where do we go from here? Well, North Korea says that it is going to at least temporarily stop these dispatches of balloons heading southbound. But there are human rights groups in South Korea that have said they're going to keep sending their balloons northbound over the DMZ. Just think of flash drives tied to balloons filled with K-dramas, K-pop music, samples of what it's like in South Korea being sent on balloons over the DMZ to North Korea. So we will be waiting to see what South Korea's cabinet does on Tuesday, potentially abandoning this agreement.
So
this is so childish.
This is countries with huge GDPs.
Kim Jong-un, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're a man-child. This is something a man-child would do. You're sending your trash over the border.
Well, yeah. I mean, he inherited his power, so
now there's a trash war. You send me your trash, I send you my trash.
Yeah.
In the guise of K-pop and K-dramas.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And with that being said, it's time for our favorite segment, our AM and PM game show.
Welcome to the AM PM game show, where Pablo and Anesto Morado attempt to determine what is going on in a video found online. Using only their ears and their third eye, the host will make a guess on what is going on. If the host gets guesses correctly, they receive $20,000 of a fiat currency that no longer exists. So what do you say, folks? Shall we play a game?
Yes. Welcome to the AM PM game show.
Radio is theater of the mind. Radio is theater of the mind. But radio is theater of the mind. It's imagination. It's imagination. Radio is theater of the mind.
Thank you, Mr. Joe Madison. May you rest in peace. Welcome to the AM PM show, where we do theater of the mind. We play a clip, and then we challenge each other to use theater of the mind to see what in reality is going on in these clips.
Bussin'.
What is going on in this clip?
That sounded like some ASMR kind of.
You want to hear it again?
I heard some crumbling paper. Then I heard like water, and then I heard like something frying.
Okay.
And then I heard a lid being put on. So I would say it's It's like some kind of cooking show.
Okay, you're very warm. Let me play this one more time.
She's opening up a package. She puts it into some hot oil. Now it's frying. There's some water being added to another pot or something. More frying. Now some mixing or something. And then she covers the lid. That's my final answer.
Okay. So So what is she doing?
To me, she's cooking something. It's
Okay.
a person cooking something.
Any idea what she might be cooking?
Well, I heard a package being opened, maybe some kind of noodles or ramen or something of that sort.
All right. You ready for the review?
I'm ready.
All right. So I'm going to put this up on screen. All right. Here we go.
Now, again, folks, this is Theater of the Mind, where we use audio feeds to discern what we are listening to.
That's
And
right.
I'll be damned. I almost nailed it. That's what I had in mind, like ramen.
Okay. So now I want you to explain to the audience that may just be listening what is going on in this clip.
She's opening up a package of ramen soup.
Now, here's the caption here says, "Cook my blue-collar husband dinner after his 15-hour shift."
Oh, my God. Talk about a shortcut.
All right, so here we go.
She opens up the ramen soup, places it in some hot oil, a little bit of salt, seasonings. She fries an egg. More salt. More seasonings. Throw some cheese on it. Now she's turning the ramen over, pouring the hot oil on the ramen, taking out a poorly cooked egg, and some more oil on top of it. More. The package of seasoning that comes with the ramen. And she just cooked them the shittiest meal I've ever seen. Boy, don't let that happen to my dad. That happens to my dad.
Oh, man.
He will not be happy with her results.
Well, this is husband.meals. So check out some of the meals that she makes for her supposedly her husband is 65 years old. And
she is much younger, I would imagine.
Yeah, I believe so.
So she wants to inherit whatever he has.
Well, I guess. But let's look at some of the...
She's slowly poisoning him.
Well, let's see some of the meals that she makes him.
Look at her stove. Old pizza with a... This is sad.
You saw what she put in there. It was pasta, I believe, right?
This is sad, man. If this is real and not staged, and her husband is actually eating that crap, I don't care how good that woman looks.
Well, I think this is the first time we've seen her. Looks like this is what she looks like. Did she just put ketchup on a banana?
I don't know, but this woman is getting me aggravated. This is what the world is coming to. Can I play my clip, please?
Yes. So wait, hold on. I gotta give you your due because you did get it on the head. You got the nail on the head, so you get a. See, folks, I don't make it as hard as Anesto might claim.
That's a sad excuse for a human. Moving right along.
I've never seen that. This is the first time I've ever seen the person. All you've ever seen was the hands before. So.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, go ahead. What do you got for us?
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
That's why it's awfully hard to be my very son.
Calling all Space Rangers, it's time to blast off with Captain Video and his Video Rangers.
Hello out there, Rangers. This is Captain Video. Are you all ready to join me today in our trip to outer space?
I am ready, Captain Video.
Very good. Let us all put on our official Captain Video space helmets.
Well, clearly this is a black and white video.
Okay.
Disintegrating on adjusted, Captain Video.
And now we blast off for Pluto and the Moon. Attention, Rangers! I want all you Rangers at home to recite the Captain Video Ranger pledge.
I, Edward Norton, Ranger, 3rd class in the Captain Video Space Academy, do solemnly pledge to obey my mommy and daddy, be kind to dumb animals and old ladies in and out of space, not to tease my little brothers and sisters, and to brush my teeth twice a day and drink milk after every meal.
So what I gather is like a I Love Lucy era show, and them reenacting like on a sound stage, astronauts going to another planet, basically with like large fishbowl type helmets or something like that. That's what I gather from this. Like
and that's your theater of the mind.
That's my theater of the mind. Very 1950s, black and white TV. Everybody watching, gathered together this program because there's only 3 channels on the TV type of program.
All right, so go to the Trello.
All right.
And you will see towards the bottom Captain Video.
All right, Captain Video.
Ask Pablo.
Let's see. There we go. Captain Video?
No, video.
Is not what a W?
No.
A video. Honeymooners. Well, honeymooners. Okay. All right. So let's see.
Just giving our audience what life used to be before technology.
Before the tech overtook everything. Let's see. Let me put this up on screen. So I was correct. It was.
You were right on the money. My favorite show, by the way, of all time.
That's why it's awfully hard to be my very son.
Calling all Space Rangers, it's time to blast off with Captain Video and his Video Rangers.
Hello out there, Rangers. This is Captain Video. Are you all ready to join me today in our trip to outer space?
I am ready, Captain Video.
Very good. Let us all put on our official Captain Video space helmets.
Well, I'll be. If they did a new honeymooners, who I envision will be this guy. What's the character's name in this one?
Norton.
I don't know, for whatever reason, I look at him and I see Michael Rappaport.
Not bad choice.
A fishbowl type helmet.
Disintegrator guns.
Disintegrator gun adjusted, Captain Video.
And now we blast off for Pluto and the moon.
So for folks that are just listening to this is a honeymooners. Norton is watching a Captain Video show, put on a fishbowl type helmet, and pulled out what do you call that? A gun, a space gun of some sort, a particle beam gun type thing, and is watching his favorite program. And here comes Mr. Why am I blanking on their names? Ralph Cramden. He comes in and he's shocked by Norton's appearance. What the hell is this guy doing?
Keep playing it.
Attention, Rangers! I want all you Rangers at home to recite the Captain Video Ranger pledge.
I, Edward Norton, Ranger, 3rd class in the Captain Video Space Academy, do solemnly pledge to obey my mommy and daddy, be kind to dumb animals and old ladies in and out of space, not to tease my little brothers and sisters, and to brush my teeth twice a day and drink milk after every meal. All right, that did it.
Now, the reason that he's in Ralph's house is because they bought a TV together, and they decided to put the TV in Ralph's house. So now these are the perks of Ralph having the TV in his house is he can watch any program that he wants.
Right.
But he has to accept that Norton's going to come down and watch his program
Whenever he wants.
So give yourself a bing.
All right. So we're both on a roll here. You could have won yourself a free prize. All right. So now here's a little bit more of a difficult one for you. Let's see if I pull this up, Pop. All right. So let's see. What in the world is going on in this clip?
All right. So let me start concentrating.
दस पीस है सुबह 10 पीस यहाँ खाने का पैसा लीजिए सुबह 10 प्लेट डालिए
So what's going on in this clip?
To me, this sounds like a street vendor, and he is selling some stuff on the street. Somehow or another, his customers are blocking traffic, and that's why you're hearing the beeping of the cars. Now, what is he cooking? I don't know, but it looks like he's
You got special brownie points if you get if you get what he's cooking here.
He's cooking some weird concoction. To me, it's like it looks red and brown. Whatever it is, I don't know, but he's cooking something.
Is that your final answer?
Let me see. He is cooking some kind of
All right, let me put this up on screen for everyone to see. And as you can see, you're definitely on the right path here.
दस पीस है सुबह 10 पीस यहाँ खाने का पैसा लीजिए सुबह 10 प्लेट डालिए
what is that he's cooking? It's not the most appetizing thing.
This is Kolkata's famous Shaghani Club Kachori. Shaghani Kachori is a very famous breakfast spot of Kolkata's favorite morning snack, and the traditional leaf kachori adds to the authenticity of this dish. Price is 40 to 100. Taste is 4.3 out of 5, according to them. Now the question is, what would you rather eat, this or what the woman was making?
What the woman was making.
Now, if you catch,
they're both pigs. They're both pigs, and bring it back to the political front, I'm just going to choose from the lesser pig.
Well, supposedly this was a world famous spot. Like,
I don't care how famous that spot is. That place is dirty.
well, if you catch, he is barefoot, cross-legged here. He's barefoot, so he has a towel over his foot over here. So I guess you don't get some of his foot.
I mean, talk about comfort food. That's a comfort chef if I've ever seen one.
And he's laying down there, so his feet is just being covered by a rag, but
and then they bring a pot of slop over.
या खाने का पैसा लीजिए सुबह 10 मिनट डालिए.
And
he puts the actual leaves on his knee before he even serves it.
Right.
That's a trip to the hospital ASAP.
And he throws a little bit of bread on top, it looks like.
Yeah, to make it look good.
Now, I bumped into this guy, and apparently he's world famous. But if you see, this is another way the table looks, you know. I'll show you what they do here. So, really quickly, I think it's one of these here. Yeah, here we go. So the spillover. You gotta save that. You gotta save that spillover. And they reuse everything. They spare no expense.
I don't care how famous that dude is. I wouldn't even feed my pigs.
Oh, well, you get because he was a street vendor and he was serving, in your words, slop. But apparently the taste is 4.3 out of 5. So
I don't care.
And he's only open from 6:30 in the morning to 12. After 12, he's done.
Oh, he's working hard, squatting there. All right, you ready for mine?
Yeah, I'm ready for yours.
All right, so here we go, because, man.
So to clarify, between the woman making the meals for her supposed husband or this guy, you go with the woman.
Yeah, I'd take the lesser of the pigs.
All right, so what's going on in this clip?
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I'm scared. All right, Uncle Bobby, here we go. Hold on, technical difficulties. Hold on. I'm trying here. We're going to the moon. Let's go, Uncle Bobby. Space pound, baby. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
What is going on?
I imagine that it's either a gas mask or a helmet that they're putting over this guy, and they're lighting up a joint and blowing it. This helmet filled with smoke, and what you're hearing are the coughs of the aftermath of it getting filled with smoke.
You sure about that?
That's what I'm getting from this, because he's
All
saying,
right.
light it up.
All right, so let's hear it one more time.
I'm scared. All right, Uncle Bobby, here we go. Hold on, take it to the difficult beach. Hold on. I'm telling you. Light it. We're going to the moon. Light it already. Let's go, Uncle Bobby. Yeah. Space pound, baby. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm guessing that he filled up the helmet way too much. That's my final answer.
All right, so
All
go to
right.
the Trello, and you're gonna look for Captain Weedio.
Okay. All right, Captain Weedio. And folks, you could guess alongside us. I mean, oh man. All right, let's share that screen for everybody. And if you get the answer correctly, we'll get a free gift from one of us. All right, let's see.
I'm scared.
So 2 people with 5-gallon jugs on their head.
All right, Uncle Bobby, here we go. Hold on, take it to the difficult beach. Hold on.
He's got a lighter, and it looks like an air pump attached to a hose that's connecting to both the 5-gallon jugs.
Water jugs.
To the moon. Let's go, Uncle Bobby.
And he's lighting up a bowl of marijuana and turning on. Oh my God. And their helmets are completely overfilled with smoke. Well, they're gonna feel good for a while.
We did pretty good.
Yeah, today we got ourselves all the way through, so we did good this cast.
Yeah.
First time ever. I think that deserves a little. Wow. A first ever on episode 95, all 4 bings.
Right
all
on.
4 right on cue. So that's historic, folks. That means it is not only entirely plausible, but also possible that you could easily win a free gift from one of us
Absolutely.
if you participate. So please feel free to go ahead and participate. The gift is there for those that were willing to grab it. And with that, it is time for our next segment. All right. So really quickly, as we go into the current events, we went into what's going on with Donald Trump a little bit in the beginning and Anthony Fauci and stuff. But we also showed the hilarious way of protest that North Korea is sending over trash to South Korea. Well, here's another gaffe that was uncovered in China. So China is one of our biggest adversaries, and every time we examine them closely, we realize that just like their products are completely fake, some parts of their country are also fake. So I happened to run across this article here, and it says here, China humiliated as tourist discovers country's renowned waterfall comes from a hidden pipe. So China has earned something of an international reputation as the world leader in shoddy frauds. Online retailers such as Wish and Temu are known, as we were talking about this afternoon, right? You look at it, it looks like a huge sign, and when you get it, it's like, the size of this remote. You're just like, oh, this is not how they advertised it. But though
I would never buy anything off those sites.
Never, because I know the exchange is, first of all, you got to know that when you're buying something from those sites, they're coming from slave labor. So you got to know that from the jump. But also the product that you're going to be receiving is not going to be what they're advertising.
And it takes forever to get to
If you get it.
If you get it.
But though its consumer goods might not be wholly genuine, one would think that China's national landmarks at least will be the real thing. Well, apparently not, as a tourist found out when scaling Asia's highest waterfall. In a video shared by South China Morning Post on Thursday, a hiker climbed up to the top of the Yuntai Mountain waterfall in China's Hunan province, which is more than 1,000 feet tall. When he arrived there, he found that most of the water for the falls was provided by a series of rusty pipes, which almost no effort had been made to disguise. So let's see. I believe the video is somewhere. Let's see if they show. Oh, they don't show the video. Okay, so we got to see.
I think there's a link. Keep going down. No, keep going down. I think there was a link.
There's a link. There's got to be a video
right
here.
there.
Oh, here we go. Let's see. Here we go. Here's the. Wow, what a beautiful waterfall. Being supplied by a nice pipe. Wow. They really try hard to make their country look nice. I mean,
wow.
I mean, what does it hurt them to say that's the largest man-made waterfall?
Right.
Why lie about it? That's the thing that.
Wow. That's actually heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean,
because if that's fake,
what else?
What else?
Well, look at that. There's the pipe right there, revealing the true cause of the waterfall.
Everything is a simulation.
So, yes, folks, China, it's hard to believe anything that comes out of China because you never know. It could all be fake. But there's some great, interesting news. Let's just put it that way. That's coming on the way of China. But before we get there, let's go back into what's happening here in America. So not only is China, caught doing frauds, but even some people here at home, like Mr. Anthony Fauci, getting caught doing, lying to Congress and doing God knows what else. So here is a clip from the trial. So do you know exactly what do you call that? Is that a trial?
I believe it's a hearing.
Oh, that's what you call it, a hearing?
I have it on the Trello.
So let me see here.
Show number 95.
All right, let me pull it up here. So evil Dr. Fauci.
Now let me set the stage on what are you about to hear and what I have discovered.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Fauci, right?
Which, if you haven't read yet, it's a great book, The Real Anthony Fauci by this guy,
Robert F. Kennedy.
I mean, this is to be expected based on that book.
Anthony Fauci, who wants to be referred as Dr. Fauci, right, has proven to me that he is the most evil man on the planet. Not only was he involved with gain of function with COVID-19, which led to the pandemic, and then led people to believe that this virus came about from a wet market in China, in Wuhan, China, where they would deal with freshly killed animals and they would cook it on the spot. And then he led us to believe that the virus came from bats and it jumped into the human genome and infected us all. We all know now that this was invented in a lab and it was paid for by the United States. But then to come to find out that the vaccines that he touted were doing more harm than good. And then we find out that this whole thing with masking and 6 feet social distancing was not involved with science at all.
Right.
And then we come to find out the most heinous of all is that he was experimenting on dogs, the most loyal animal, in my opinion, on the planet. He was taking beautiful beagles and experimenting on them. And then when it was exposed, saying that it was a lie.
Right.
It turns out that it was true. That his facility somewhere in the United States, I don't know where exactly it was. I don't know if it was like towards Maryland, somewhere on the East Coast. He had over 5,000 beagles that he was experimenting on. They found out he had this facility and they made him shut it down. So he proceeded to conduct his experiments in Tunisia, paid the Tunisian government millions of dollars to take these poor dogs, remove their vocal cords by way of surgery so that they suffer in silence, so that there is no barking. And it is reported that he would take these beagles, strap them down like on something akin to a gurney, muzzle them, infect them with sand fleas.
Yep.
And these poor animals will succumb to these flesh-eating fleas that would like strip the animal of its skin until the animals died. Now, the question is, what were these experiments for? They don't know because it had nothing to do with science. And at the same time, it is reported that he would watch these dogs by way of a feed, and he would watch for hours as these dogs suffered under these horrible conditions. This guy, Anthony Fauci, is the devil incarnate, and he is going, if one day you wake up and you're sitting next to Anthony Fauci, well, guess what? You're in hell.
Well, they said the same thing about Mr. Epstein.
They're going all to the same place, just different levels.
So here is the summary, a good summary of the book, The Real Anthony Fauci by Dr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I'll put this up on screen so that everybody can read along here, so that you're seeing that we're not making this stuff up. You know, this is public information. So let me put this up on screen really quickly.
And they call Robert F. Kennedy a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. But it's leaking out here. So it says here, let me make this a little bit bigger so that people can read along here. It says, as a director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, Dr. Anthony Fauci is in charge of a $6.1 billion in annual citizen-funded research, allowing him to dictate the subject, substance, and outcomes of logical health research all over the world. Fauci wields his financial clout to exert enormous influence over medical clinics, colleges, journals, and a slew of outstanding specialists and researchers, all of whose careers and institutions he may kill, develop, or prize. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. discovered a unique tale that debunks the media's attack on Dr. Fauci, and more importantly, that will alarm every American, leftist or conservative, who routinely analyzes popular governance, our Constitution, and the well-being of our children. The genuine article Anthony Fauci describes as how he handled his career during the AIDS crisis by cooperating with pharmaceutical companies to develop safe and compelling off-patent AIDS restoration treatments. Fauci staged fake examinations and then forced the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, officials to accept a fatal chemotherapy treatment that he had a good reason to believe was ineffective against AIDS. Fauci took the advantage of the government's restrictions on multiple occasions to allow his pharmaceutical partners to utilize impoverished and darkened-skinned children as, and it says, to be continued. So basically,
he was experimenting on brown and blacks.
Basically, what they were saying is in the beginning days of AIDS crisis, they were experimenting with a lot of different things, and one of the things that they were thinking of using was chemotherapy, which on the principle doesn't make any sense because AIDS hurts your immune system as it is. So by adding chemotherapy to the mix, you're basically guaranteed dead because your immune system is already compromised, and you're using something that's going to further compromise your immune system, right? So
it just doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
And it doesn't sound like science.
Right. And there was a lot of experimentation that he was doing during the AIDS crisis, which they find out later, which was non-scientific, only killed people, and was responsible for a lot of deaths. And he goes around, untouched by, the media or by the law because of his egregious errors in making these partnerships with pharmaceutical companies. And, knowing that some of these things are off-label or not meant to be used for the AIDS crisis, he ended up doing it anyway. Now, fast forward to 2019, where he was, still at the helm, and this new COVID variant is coming out. Now, they were developing mRNA for quite some time, but if you listen to anything that this guy, Robert Malone, was saying, is that the problem with the mRNA vaccine is that, first of all, it's not a vaccine. So stop calling it a vaccine. It's gene therapy. That's part one. Part two is that it is uncontrollable, right? It doesn't, because medicine, the way it's supposed to work is you isolate a compound that does one specific thing to your body with minimal to no side effects, right? That's how a medicine gets approved, or it's supposed to be getting approved through the FDA, right? But there is a huge side effect when you cannot control what this thing does. And the problem is when you're programming a gene therapy to make your cells produce spike protein, which is still a novel thing, right? And people are not really familiar what it's going to do to the body. Instructing your cells to make this thing may not be the best idea, right? And what happens is when you inject this, they don't know where it goes, right? So people have the impression that it's going to be located here in the arm, and then your arm, the cells that interact with that particular area gets the coded information and transmits it throughout the body. But in reality, it gets sifted throughout the whole body and lands in different areas. Some places it's the brain, some places it's the heart, some places it's the lungs, and some places, you absorb it and it doesn't land anywhere, right? So what happens is that there's a substantial amount of this mRNA technology getting absorbed in the heart, and the heart is producing things based on the genetic code that it's instructed in the mRNA technology to produce spike protein, but instead of producing the spike protein, it's producing a byproduct of these tapeworm-looking clots that people are finding. And, they were aware of this because this is why it hasn't been used in any other vaccine prior to 2020. Because as much as Robert Malone wanted to use this technology and build this up, and that was his mission, to find a way to make it work, he had yet to find a way to make it work. The reason being is because there's supposedly lipids that encase this thing, and the lipids are supposed to, prevent it from spreading, but it breaks down and it spreads, and they have no way of controlling it. And now you compound that with boosters and other things. You're just pumping your body with this gene-altering therapy that we have no way of understanding of how our body's going to react to this stuff.
And yet they touted that as
safe and all this, safe and effective
to this.
But
COVID.
Not only did they do that, now one thing I was hearing, I forgot who was saying it, but I think it was Tucker Carlson that was saying it, actually, that, not only were they touting it as a safe vaccine, but the fact of the matter is they were incentivizing people by giving them burgers and fries to get this vaccine. Like this guy, the mayor of New York, the ex-mayor of New York, what's his name? De Blasio.
Oh, De Blasio.
And he was incentivizing people, trying to give them or giving them burgers and fries and things like,
and paying them money.
And paying them money to get this shot. And, if you really think about the messaging, the whole point of why they said you were getting this shot is to protect you, right? Not to protect me, right? To protect the other people in society, regardless of the effectiveness it's going to do on me. It protects you from spreading it, supposedly.
And not only were they touting this as this, miracle drug, but they were suppressing actual therapies that did help.
Right.
Like, for example, ivermectin.
Right. Ivermectin, or just general health. Being healthy, working out. They stop people from going outside, getting vitamin D, going to beaches, doing things that are genuinely healthy and that promote good health. They even said that even if you get the virus, to go get a vaccine, which logically makes no sense because you're protecting yourself from getting the virus by getting a vaccine.
I mentioned ivermectin, but they blocked many medicines that were proven to be helpful against COVID because they didn't want people to get better. They wanted to push this vaccine.
Right. So, and
now the dirt is coming out. You have a video that you showed me where Fauci is trying to persuade this person to take the drug, and he's like, "I'm not taking it." Do you have that video?
I do. Hold on, let me find that here. But yeah, it's fairly insane.
And as much as I love a lot of people in my circle, a lot of them got angry on the stance that I took about not taking the vaccine, even though I regret it now. I did take the vaccine. I gambled with that. I went against my own gut feeling, and I took the vaccine. And I'm experiencing some kind of neuropathy with my joints that weren't there before the vaccine. Now I'm kind of thinking, could this be something that was exacerbated in my body due to that vaccine?
I mean, anything is possible. I mean, I wouldn't know definitively, but I know that the vaccine did not help or give any benefit to your body because, again,
and I also suspect that a dear family member of ours suffered a stroke and had many surgeries, brain surgeries to correct this. And I believe, and this is not fact, I haven't heard this, so people listening do not start doing an Alex Jones on me. This is not proven, but in my opinion, I believe that all these surgeries that our loved one suffered, I think they were finding these clots that they could not understand, and they kept going in and going in and going in.
Yes, they did.
And this is not proven by any. This is just my opinion and my opinion alone, because this loved one that succumbed to her stroke, she was very pro-vaccine, and I believe she was boosted many times, and unfortunately, she passed away.
Well, here is a piece of what you're discussing here, and let me just add this to the screen so that everyone can watch along with us. But here is some of the things that you're discussing here.
Cram.com. Welcome to another MedCram COVID-19 update. Today we're going to review a couple of papers that go into detail about autopsy findings in patients with disease in the heart related to spike protein who have been previously vaccinated. And specifically, we're going to look at the brain and the heart in a particular case where someone died with encephalitis. We at MedCram have talked extensively about the vaccines and not only their efficacy, but also side effects. And that goes back to April of 2021 when we covered the vaccine pause of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine as it related to cerebral venous sinus thrombosis. There was about 6 cases out of 6 million cases at that time. And we also covered in September of 2021 in our video called COVID Vaccines, 10 Key Questions Answered with Rhonda Patrick, where we delved into the connection between mRNA vaccines and myocarditis. As a pulmonary and critical care physician in full practice and on the faculty at 2 medical schools, the side effects of medications are not foreign to me. I use these medications all the time in the intensive care unit. And one of the medications that we see used often, but also with side effects, are blood thinners. And so it was a privilege for me to be involved in research prior to the pandemic in 2017, where we looked at clinical outcomes of prolonged anticoagulation with rivaroxaban, which is a blood thinner, after unprovoked venous thromboembolism. People who have blood clots, and we don't know why they have blood clots, get put on anticoagulation for a set period of time, and then they are taken off of anticoagulation. And so the question is how long should they be on it and whether or not they should be on it indefinitely. So this was a real world study where we actually looked at patients who had discontinued anticoagulation, which you see here in red, and those that had continued anticoagulation. Clearly, you can see that those that discontinue it initial month period had a higher risk of venous thromboembolism than those who actually had stayed on it. And so that's an important thing to see the efficacy of a medication. But the flip side of it is to see the safety. If we're getting benefit, but also seeing worsening and side effects, that's not good. So we asked the same question of the same cohort, except in a little different way. We asked how many of these actually had major bleeding, which of course we see all the time in the intensive care unit when patients are put on blood thinners. And as you can see here, there really wasn't much difference. So this was a boon. This is basically a situation where there's very little risk of continuing the medication. And if you continue the medication, you reduce their chances of getting blood clots. No brainer in this one, we came to the conclusion that continued rivaroxaban in this case, beyond the initial 3 or 6 month treatment period, significantly lowered the risk of recurrent thromboembolism without a significant increase in major bleeding compared to the treatment that discontinued at 3 or 6 months. And so the key here is that for any medical intervention that you're ever going to do, you have to understand that there's always risk. It would be very surprising to me to...
The key here is that any medical intervention, there's always risk. But they advertise the mRNA as risk-free, right? That you were, not only was it risk-free, but it was certain to stop the spread, and you were mandated to take it.
Well, I don't know if it was touted as risk-free. They did have a very small percentage that you might have an allergic reaction to it. When I took the shot,
I mean, I could have a whole montage of people saying that it was.
When they took the shot, they made me sit in the place for 20 minutes to see if there was any reaction to the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew that there was a small percentage. I just think that what they have found after, so many vaccines is, again, that this vaccine was creating blood clots in a percentage of its recipients. But anyway, we don't want to get too much in the weeds.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to get down the weeds here.
You got that video when Fauci's trying to
I definitely got it. I got it right here. Hold on.
Because this encompasses everything that we're talking about.
Yeah.
This guy nails it.
All right, so let me pull it up here. Where is it? Oh, here it is.
They made fun of Joe Rogan saying he was taking horse dewormers.
So this is Anacostia, historic African-American neighborhood. In New York, they have neighborhoods. Here they have wards. So this is Ward 8. It's the typical social determinants of health, where they don't get good medical care, they have a high degree of HIV, high degree of COVID-19, the lowest level of vaccination. They're sort of the disenfranchised group that we got to
So
reach out to.
here's the
So
part that you're talking about here, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Fauci really wants you to get vaccinated today. If you're not vaccinated, all right.
I've been Fauci.
Good.
You got your Fauci ouchie.
Yeah.
Your Fauci ouchie.
Well, good for you. Hello. Hi. It's nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Same here.
I've been vaccinated since April the 23rd, and I did it because I felt I needed to be a solution and not part of the
There you
problem.
go. Great. Do you think it hurts, or what is?
No, it does other things to me. I just
Yeah.
pass out.
How old are you? I'm older than you, so don't feel badly. Don't feel bad. I'm 80.
Me too.
Oh, good.
Me too. I'm 82.
That's one of the reasons why you might want to reconsider.
What I find is people aren't really opposed.
Yeah, I know.
They do need a
They need a little push.
A push and a drag.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My neighbor, I don't come in there. I got no clothes on. Okay. This is Dr. Fauci.
Ain't that sad?
That they're touting him like this guy.
This demon.
So where's the...
Keep going. I'll tell you what it's right there.
Right here.
This is where.
As you can see, this is where everyone wants to watch, most replayed. All right, here we go.
See you later.
The people in America are not settled with the information that's been given to us right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot or a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time. It takes years to create vaccination.
Well, it used to take years.
Okay, it used to.
You know how many years were invested in this approach? About 20 years of science to get us to be able to do it.
20 years is not
quickly.
enough. And 9 months is definitely not enough for nobody to be taking no vaccination that you all came up with.
The only reason I'm talking to you right now, as close as we are, is that I've been vaccinated.
Right.
But if it allows thousands of people like you don't get vaccinated, you're going to let this virus continue to percolate in this country and in this world.
Something like the common flu then, right?
And not
It's
like
much
the
more
common
serious than the flu.
Well, the flu kills a lot of people annually, too.
You know how many people died of the flu the last year? I mean, not this year, virtually none, but the previous year, about 20 to 30,000. You know how many people have died?
Not this year, virtually none. Why is that, Mr. Fauci?
Because everybody died of COVID.
The United States, 600,000 Americans.
Well, that.
Or people that died of the flu, they named it COVID.
Exactly.
The number that you all giving that died, that's once again, that's you all's number.
You gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely. Because when you start talking about paying people to get vaccinated, when you start talking about incentivizing things to get people vaccinated, there's something else going on with that.
Thank you.
It's something else going on.
It is something going on
There's
with
something
that.
else.
You're right.
going on.
But I'm glad millions of people like me and most everybody here didn't get an incentive. You know what their incentive was? Protecting their health and protecting the city.
Well,
but I won't keep you anymore.
It's okay, because my incentive, y'all campaign is about fear. It's about inciting fear in people. You all attack people with fear. That's what this pandemic is. It's a fear. It's fear, this pandemic. That's all it is.
Thank you.
Yes.
Enough said.
Enough said. So
now he's feeling the brunt because now he's in a hearing, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, Taylor Greene, has put his feet to the fire.
Yes, and it's insane that if you was to go to a doorstep and to get them to convince somebody to take the vaccine, you would expect for him to say, well, the reason why I am encouraging this is because the way the mechanism of this vaccine works, it does X, Y, and Z to protect your body And we know this with definitive proof. There's studies, blah, blah, blah. But do you see that anywhere in the video? Do you see any competency of why someone should take it? Any rationale given that would make someone feel comfortable in taking this? No. It's just you're an idiot for not taking the shot. You're allowing this virus to percolate like viruses do anyway, right? So again, it's crazy that it's taken this long for people to, and it's still people are still under this got the wool pulled over their eyes and still are not 100% on the idea that the vaccine is not designed for your health. It's designed for their profit. And
absolutely.
And there's still a lot of people out there that have a hard time swallowing that pill. But luckily, we have people in Congress like Marjorie Taylor Greene that actually understands what's been going on here and, is putting people like Anthony Fauci on blast.
Under Dr. Fauci.
Let's show what Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking about when it comes to the Beagles. Here's something else that he's been doing. Let's put this up on screen really quickly, and then we got to move on to another story here. So, folks, if you're watching this, stay tuned. We don't know what's going to come out of this Fauci thing, but more is definitely coming for sure.
Leadership at the NIH. We spent our taxpayer money to take out these puppies' vocal cords. We then had them drugged, killed, and dissected, all in the name of science.
That's sad, man. Beautiful dogs.
No, those dogs do not deserve that at all.
Play the other clip that I have on the Trello.
All right, here. Tucker on the evil Dr. Fauci.
No, not that one.
Not that one?
No, the other one.
I'll
tell you which one.
Evil Dr. Fauci?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Advisor, but he is not an advisor on policy.
That's very confusing to have someone's title and not having that to be their obligation.
But that is the fact, though.
I think that supports what we said. There needs to be more oversight and there needs to be more accountability. Mr. Chairman, my time has expired, but these points are very clear to all of us today in this hearing room. I yield back.
I now recognize Mr. Garcia from California for 5 minutes. Oh, he left? I now recognize Ms. Green from Georgia for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Fauci, you were quoted on CBS Face the Nation saying it's easy to criticize, but they're really criticizing.
Oh, here we go.
Always towards the end of the show.
Always.
Science, because I represent science. Do you represent science, Mr. Fauci?
I am a scientist who uses the scientific method to gain information.
Yes, you said you represent science. Do you represent science, Mr. Fauci? Yes or no? Yes or no?
No, that's not a yes or no answer.
Yes, it's a yes or no.
I don't think it is.
Okay, well, we'll take that as a you don't know what you represent.
Oh,
But this, as director of the NIH, you did sign off on these so-called scientific experiments. And as a dog lover, I want to tell you this is disgusting and evil, what you signed off on, and these experiments that happened to beagles paid for by the American taxpayer. And I want you to know Americans don't pay their taxes for animals to be tortured like this. So the type of science that you are representing, Mr. Fauci, is abhorrent, and it needs to stop. Mr. Fauci, you also represent the type of science where you confess that you made up the COVID rules, including
I didn't hear what you
6
said.
feet social distancing and masking of children.
I never said I made anything up.
You admitted that you made it up. You
I
made it
didn't
up
say
as you went.
I made it up.
So are you saying this is fake news, Mr. Fauci?
I didn't say I made anything up.
What did you say?
I said that it is not based in science and it just appeared.
But this is science.
What does dogs have to do with anything that we're talking about today?
These are scientific experiments. This is what you signed off on. But you also told the American people they had to distance by 6 feet. They had to wear masks. But let's also talk a little bit further about the type of science that you represent. NIH scientists made $710 million in royalties from drug makers, a fact that's been hidden. Let's talk about the fact about, is it right for scientists and doctors getting paid by the American people, government taxpayer paychecks, to get patents where they're paid millions and hundreds of millions of dollars in royalty fees, especially when the NIH and these government agencies, most powerful agencies in our country, are recommending medical suggestions and advice and making up guidelines like 6 feet distancing and masking of children. Do you think that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? Because you're not doctor. You're Mr. Fauci in my few minutes.
Thank you.
No, I don't need your answer.
Well, yeah. I mean, she really holds him to the fire. Reality is, I would love to hear. It's never going to happen, but I would love to hear Robert F. Kennedy and Dr. Fauci debate on this vaccine.
That will never happen.
It will never happen, but somebody's got to put their feet to the fire here, and somebody's got to, come up with something to get these people accountable, because you know what? There are lives at risk here. There were lives that were taken, and there were people's pockets getting lined up. And you know what? That's the number one rule in journalism that CNN probably forgot, MSNBC forgot, ABC and CBS. They all forgot the number one rule in journalism. That is, follow the money. And you know what? There was a lot of money that was made, and a lot of that money got shuffled into Dr. Fauci's bank account.
This was all planned. This was all planned. It was a huge money-making scheme, and I just feel sorry for these people who blindly, without doing their research, got the vaccines. And I don't blame them, to be quite honest.
Well, if you ask most people,
a lot of people were scared. A lot of people were scared,
That's
especially the elderly people.
That's true, but if you ask most people, the reason why they got the vaccine was to enjoy their lives, because you couldn't, especially in New York City, there was not much you could do. You couldn't go to certain restaurants, you couldn't do certain things. Your lives were hampered by your not taking of a vaccine. And that's mainly why a lot of people took it.
I don't think it was mainly the reason. I think that it was.
I think it was a good motivator, because I think if that part wasn't in place, more people would have avoided it. But because that was a factor, they were forced to take in it, and they figured, what's the harm? All these other people have taken it, so I guess I'm good.
Well, that was a factor that the quality of life was being affected, because you couldn't really patronize places that you were used to going.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, it was the fear mongering.
Of course.
The fear mongering, not everybody goes out to eat. Not everybody goes, but the elderly were scared into the vaccine. Then the elderly were scared for their children and convinced their children to take the vaccine. And it goes on that way, because if you turn down the TV, everybody was saying, especially the left, were chastising people on the right that said, no, I'm not taking this vaccine. But while Donald Trump was still a president, they were like, I'm not taking that vaccine if Donald Trump is telling me to take the vaccine. But they took the vaccine happily when Joe Biden said take the vaccine, which to me is asinine. This whole thing was a farce, and they're gonna try to do it again.
Oh yeah,
it worked. That fear mongering that they propagated, it worked.
Oh yeah,
it was a small social experiment that was a total success. They made billions off this thing, and now you see their attempts of trying again with the bird flu, with all these little things, with the variants, and people have woken up and people are saying, you know what? I took one shot and that's it. You're not forcing me again. So it's going to be interesting how they're going to convince us, or try to convince us, to take another vaccine.
I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to make it. They're going to find a way. So with that being said, here's another interesting trial. So you have, Dr. Fauci in this hearing, shedding tears. My family's being threatened. Well, a lot of lives were taken by your directive. So, I mean, what you put out in the world is what you receive. So it's no wonder you're getting death threats. But be that as it may, there's another person on trial today, or on trial this week, Hunter Biden. You aware of this?
Of course. Who isn't aware of it?
So do you know some of the key takeaways of this whole trial? Some things that I didn't even know, but it's it's part of the Biden family mystery, I guess. Hunter Biden had slept with his brother's widow.
Oh yeah, he Hunter Biden, when his brother passed away, started sleeping with his sister-in-law and convinced her into trying crack
and got her hooked. I mean, what kind of family? I mean, it's no wonder why America is in the shape that it's in. How can we expect Joe Biden to be the leader of this country when he can't even
the leader of the free world,
when he can't even lead his own family?
The leader of the free world. And this is where I get upset. And people, mistake it because they think I'm a Trumper. But that is not the case. I remember when Donald Trump was first campaigning for his first election, right?
Mm-hmm.
There were some pictures that they called off-putting with his daughter. You remember that?
Yes.
They said, oh, this guy is strange. This guy is possibly sexualizing his daughter, so on and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But look into what's going on Mr. Joe's backyard. His son is a crackhead. his daughter believes that he was inappropriate with her,
right,
to the point that he was taking showers with her,
right, at an inappropriate age,
at an inappropriate,
where she can remember it.
Yes. So if imagine that Donald Trump had that in his repertoire.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, it's so bad that he hooked this poor woman on crack, and then when he bought the gun, she was the one that had to dispose of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as crazy as this may seem, this guy might walk.
I don't know. Maybe, but I think if it's a federal case, then Daddy might be able to bail you out,
and Daddy might be able to pardon you as well.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But check out. So the central piece of this trial, the central piece of the prosecution's case in Hunter Biden's memoir, Beautiful Things, in which the president's son opened up about his crack cocaine addiction, stints in rehab, and struggles to get sober, jurors have heard Hunter Biden detail at length seeking out a crack in different places and learning how to smoke it.
Now, let me ask you this. How did this trial come about?
That is a good question.
How did they find out all this information on Hunter Biden?
I think it's because of his memoir, Beautiful Things.
Wasn't there a whole thing with a computer that was left behind?
Oh, well, yeah. There was the laptop that now is considered real evidence and is being put into trial here. And God knows what's in that laptop, but... I do know. I had the files. Remember, I showed you some of the files.
Right. And they said that the FBI had said that was all fake.
Yep.
It was all fake. And
now it's real.
And now it's real.
But, it goes to show you, like, for example, I mean, this is a father and son podcast, right? So you're my dad, and I'm a father as well, right? So naturally... you has always been a radio guy, right?
Right.
Always listened to radio my whole life, to the point where you explained on the podcast, you sat down and had dinner with one of the greats, Paul Harvey.
Paul Harvey. I didn't know he was Paul Harvey.
No, but nonetheless, you still had... and knew of him and was
an admirer
of him, right? So it is only natural that I'm going to be a podcaster, because this is all I've done throughout my life, throughout my years of being raised by you, listening to radio, listening to the current events and all these conspiracies and all these things. It's only natural that that's what I'm going to be doing, right?
Right.
And, if you examine what was going on in the Biden family, I'm sure it's going to make clear sense as to why Hunter passed away, or Beau Biden passed away because of drug overdose, wasn't it not? Was it not a drug overdose?
I'm not too clear what took... wasn't it cancer?
Let's find out. I thought it was drugs, but let's see. What killed Beau Biden?
At least that's
brain cancer. Okay, brain cancer. Okay, my apologies. So, but nonetheless, Beau Biden's wife is sleeping with, her brother-in-law. Right, you have Ashley Biden saying that her dad is inappropriate. You have other people of the Biden family nicknaming Biden as Pedo Pete. Right, you have all these things coming out, and it only goes to show that if look at the family. You got Hunter Biden strung out on drugs. You got all these things going on. It makes you wonder what is really going on in that household.
Well, there's a saying that says, "You reap
what you sow."
What you sow, and a lot of people are not aware about Jill Biden and how he met her.
Oh yeah,
and
I
know,
mean it's allegedly. This is
what I'm about to say is not alleged. This is actual facts. Jill Biden was married when he started screwing around with her.
She was married at that time.
Yes.
Okay.
He convinced her to leave her husband, right? While she was married. And then proceeded to destroy her husband and told him, back off. Back off. And initially, she's mine now.
Wow.
Google, what did Joe Biden do to Jill's ex-husband?
Well, the alleged thing I also heard.
A lot of people don't know about this
are
story.
saying that Joe Biden was also the family babysitter.
That's alleged. But as you very well saw, there is a picture of them together.
Yeah. So what did Joe Biden do to Jill's ex-husband? Let's see. Joe Biden's ex-husband slams Biden crime family. So let's see what this is. Let me put this up on stage for everyone to read along here with us. So it says here, Joe Biden's ex-husband claims Biden crime family has targeted him for years. First Lady Dr. Jill Biden's ex-husband slammed the so-called Biden crime family in a new interview and claimed the powerful brood is targeting former President Donald Trump the same way they bullied him during his divorce almost 50 years ago. Frankie Biden and the Biden crime family goes up to me and he goes, give her the house or you're going to have serious problems. Bill Stevenson told Newsmax Greg Kelly's Wednesday night of the moment President Biden's brother Frank allegedly approached him when he and Jill divorced in the mid-70s. I looked at Frankie and said, are you threatening me? And needless to say, about 2 months later, my brother and I were indicted for that tax charge for $8,200. Stevenson, who married the future First Lady in 1970 when she was still a college student, claims that Joe Biden, who was then a young senator in Delaware, sicked? What is that word? Sicked? Oh, yeah, sicked the charges on him. I could not believe the power of Joe Biden in the Department of Justice. I could not believe he lamented to Kelly. Wow, you seen
he is so evil that now there are talks about if Donald Trump goes to jail, taking away his security detail.
Yeah. So the Disgraced Former Protectees Act, also known as the Disgraced Act, is a proposed legislation introduced by Representative Benny Thompson in the United States House of Representatives. The bill aims to amend the U.S. Code to terminate Secret Service protection for individuals who have been convicted of a felony and sentenced to a year or more in prison. The Disgraced Act would amend the 18th Amendment, which outlines the U.S. Secret Service Uniform Division duties and procedures to prevent the division from protecting a person who was convicted of a federal or state offense and sentenced to a year or more in prison. The bill would apply to former presidents as well as other individuals who are entitled to Secret Service protection under current law. The legislation is intended to address the potential complications that could arise if a former president were to be convicted of a felony and sentenced to prison, as the Secret Service will be required to provide protection while the individual is incarcerated.
Now, does they give a date when they started introducing this particular amendment?
I believe this was introduced in April. Let's see.
Because they're hanging on to this conviction of Donald Trump, right? Now they're calling him a felon, right?
Right.
Well, come to find out, as we were getting reports from the trial, first of all,
April 19, 2024.
Ain't that convenient? Ain't before he was convicted.
Yep.
Ain't that convenient? So check it out. What did we learn during the Trump trial? First, every objection, the prosecution, every objection that the defense provided was overruled.
Yes.
Every objection the prosecution provided was sustained, right? The judge obviously was on the prosecution side. He had he was favoring.
Yes.
There's a term for that. He was biased towards the prosecution. Right? Then he gives out when there was a particular witness brought up by the defense that says, I knew, what's this guy's name? That scumbag, that he made the payments. I forget his name.
Oh, for the Stormy Daniels trial. Not Dershowitz. I know who you're talking about. Let me pull him up. It was Cohen. Michael Cohen.
Michael Cohen. He knew that Michael Cohen did this rogue. He did it on his own. That Donald Trump did not instruct him to do this. He did it on his own. Of course, he had an ulterior motive. He wanted to steal.
Yeah.
Right? But that witness, he was muzzled. The judge didn't let him proceed with his testimony. Right? Everything then
Donald Trump himself was gagged.
He was gagged. And then the 34 counts that he was found guilty for, the judge gave out an instruction that was never seen before in a court proceeding of this manner. He instructed the jury. The jury doesn't have to be unanimous on one charge.
Right.
They could be, some can go for charge 1, some can go for charge 2.
Whatever you like. Pick and choose a charge.
Pick and choose your charge. And if they're all guilty, then we can ball that up as well, guess what happened just a few days ago?
What?
Evidently, somebody knew a juror. And like 3 days before, there was a post on social media. There's a social media site in reference to this case on Facebook. And that person said, my uncle, I think my uncle or my cousin is a juror in the Donald Trump trial. He's gonna be found guilty because he told me about it.
Wow.
So that particular instance, you could say, that's just a guy talking shit. Well, there's some kind of legitimate thing to that statement, because the judge wrote to the prosecutor, the judge wrote to the defense and said, look, this happened. I believe this was leaked on social media, which somebody knew that Donald Trump was going to be found guilty 3 days before
the verdict came in.
So that's right there. That case is compromised right there.
Well,
Does this say?
Social media post claims Trump juror discussed guilty verdict before it was delivered. The judge presiding over former President Trump's New York criminal trial notified his defense team on Friday of a comment on the court's public Facebook page that implies one of the jurors discussed the guilty verdict ahead of time. Fox News obtained the letter Judge Juan Merchan shared with Trump defense attorneys and Manhattan prosecutors. Trump attorneys request Merchan lift gag order ahead of the presidential debate following the end of the trial. Oh, this was like an insert. Today, the court became aware of a comment that was posted on the Unified Court System's public Facebook page, and which I now bring to your attention. In the comment, the user Michael Anderson states, "My cousin is a juror and says Trump is getting convicted. Thank you, folks, for all your hard work." Wow.
He's congratulating.
Wow.
So this was a coup. This is a...
Yeah. We knew that.
We knew it. But this is further proof.
Right.
So come on. Come on. This is...
Well, here's the thing now. So that now the American public, here's our goal, and this is what we need to realize here, is that all this is a game here. You have Hunter Biden's trial here to have us look this way. Then you have Donald Trump's trial to have us look this way. And then you have the stuff that's going on in Israel to have us be worried about that. And the potential rise of COVID. Oh, what's going on here? But there's something that's going on that they're trying to cover their tracks. And they're using these stories to bury the lead. Something is going on here.
Well, one of the things that have come out is that Putin is going to be exercising war games in Cuba and in Venezuela.
Yes. So on that front, I got a lot of interesting news. We got limited time here, but
we got
limited time.
15 minutes to unpack this. But before you do that, before you do that, this is my opinion and my opinion alone. So don't start saying this is false. What do they call it?
Misinformation.
Misinformation. This is not anything that I read. This is my opinion. We as human beings walk upon this earth, right? Some of us believe in God and Jesus Christ as our Savior. Some of them believe in God and are still waiting for the Messiah. Some of us believe in Allah and believe that Muhammad was the last prophet. Some of us believe in Buddha. Some of us believe in 1,000 gods, like in the Hindu religion, right? But we are distracted, and some of us don't believe in God at all. But all the while, we are paying bills, taking care of our families, making sure that we get something good to eat, and going with our lives. But if you're a believer in God, right, we believe that there's a heaven and a hell, right? Right now, there could be a battle between the angels and the demons. It might be a full-on war in heaven as the devil invades heaven trying to take over God's throne. But we don't know nothing about it.
Right.
Because we're here in our struggles.
Right.
Trying to make ends meet. So all this is happening if you're a believer, you know. And if you're not, there might be something going on in heaven. There are movies made about this. The Prophecy. I saw another one. It's called, oh, Christ, I forget the name of this movie. There's The Prophecy. I forget the name of the other one. But at any rate, it deals with war, where there's a war in heaven. But we don't know nothing about it.
Right.
I believe that there's a war between two factions here on earth. Donald Trump is that hair in the soup. There's a power struggle bigger than any of us can imagine. And Donald Trump is caught knee deep into this. Why? We circle back to that nudge. To me, a shogi is that thing that continuously is gnawing at me. Why did they kill this man? You, on the other hand, that gnawing thing is what that Israeli
right, Haim Mished
said. They're aliens and Donald Trump knows about it. I believe, in my opinion, this is why they want to destroy him. He stumbled on.
Yes, he has evidence. He has something in those documents, which is why they're raiding him for that.
Yes.
Which is why they're subpoenaing him and all these other things, because he has definitive proof that Hillary Clinton, Obama, Biden are conspiring against the American people and are colluding with extraterrestrial beings that are helping them take control. And who else is involved in this? I'm certain you're going to find the King of England involved in this, and some other leaders throughout the world are also involved in this. And this is why they pay each other. This is why like you said in the beginning of the cast, did you realize that we pay even our enemies? Yeah, because they're all in cahoots. Because in reality, it seems like we're enemies, but if you zoom all the way out, there's one entity that is controlling us all, and we're not even aware of him.
And I believe the truth and what's really going on is so huge and so incomprehensible that not even the best sci-fi movie ever made can encompass what's going on behind closed doors. This is huge beyond measure. There's war, and I believe it's a war between two satanic factions, and I'm gonna give you an example of. You mentioned the king, right?
Mm-hmm.
And remember what Alex Jones said, right?
Mm-hmm.
These fraternities, these globalists, these devils that want a world domination, they have no rules in attaining their power,
right?
Except one: they must tell you what they're going to do,
yes,
before they do it.
Right.
Now, I know you want to bring up something, but I've been holding on to this for a while. And I think, let me see if I find it. Actually, let's not go crazy. Google King, what's his name? King, the name of the king in England.
King Philip, I think. Yeah.
No.
I forget his name. King of England is
Charles.
Charles, yeah,
King
Charles.
Charles.
King Charles III.
Okay. Google King Charles III portrait.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to give some homework to our audience.
I remember you posting something on this, but I don't know if we went down.
We didn't unpack it. We did not unpack it. Too many things, too many events. You see, nowadays a baby throws a fart, you celebrate that. That's all convoluted. It clouds us.
Yes.
Now, zoom out. And I'm going to give our audience.
Let me see. Hold on. Bear with me.
We're going to give our audience some homework. I want you guys to study this portrait in depth. And what you're going to see is going to astound you. All the demonic things that appear on this portrait. There's a if you zoom out, when you're too close, you can't see. You got to zoom out, and you can start seeing that there are portraits of Baphomet within that. There's satanic symbols. There's all kinds of things going on in this painting.
I don't see it.
You don't see it. So I'm going to give you some homework. And on the next podcast, We will unpack.
I mean, I've heard of it. I've heard of people saying that.
If you look in that area right there.
Right here?
Yeah. You see things. And if you if as a matter of fact, we will unpack this on the next cast.
Yeah, I mean, I
I'm
get the
seeing it because I know where they're at.
Where are you seeing it? You seeing it like around here?
You gotta zoom out because you're too close. Okay. See around his head?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of hidden images.
From here, I can see like a face around here.
And you see that that butterfly means something. Like, why would a butterfly be there? You see here on his shoulder, there's like a face there. See that face?
I can see like this is the eye. Here's like the nose, and here's like it looks like a reptilian kind of look.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. So if you take the image,
but up close you don't see it. Because over here, it's hard to tell that you see like a nose, but when you zoom out, yeah, I'm seeing what you're.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
There's like a evil face looking here. Yes, here's an eye. Here's an eye. Here's the head.
You can see a skull. You see the skull?
Yeah, it's like I don't see if it's a skull. It looks
right there. See where you're. That's the nose. And then
that's the nose. Right here's the head. Here's the socket. Another socket.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like Darth Vader to me. Like here's a triangular Darth Vader. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's a lot of things.
There's a lot of things in that portrait.
I've been hearing. But yeah, so really quickly, because we got...
He is part of that satanic group for world domination.
Well, like you said, they're in that snake ball,
Yes. And there's 2 snake balls. I believe there are 2 snake balls.
Mm-hmm.
And they both have their candidate for the Antichrist. Now they're fighting which of these 2 are going to win.
Right.
Donald Trump is that hair in the soup. That's my opinion alone. But let's get this cast going.
Yeah. We have so many things that we had to unpack, and we ran out of time here. But in the next cast, we'll discuss Putin ally threatens to use entire arsenal of nuclear weapons if needed. That's coming up. Kiev's first strike inside Russia with U.S. weapons prompts stern NATO and Kremlin warnings. That's also coming up. Chinese forces seize Filipino military supplies days after war warnings. So that's also on the horizon.
And that speech that that demon Biden said, it's like provoking Putin into come on.
Yep.
They always said that it was Donald Trump that was going to provoke, but it looks like Biden is the one that's provoking.
It's fitting. I mean, if you look at this family, this country has gone the same way as this family. You have all these people hooked on drugs. You got the fentanyl crisis going out of control. You have the world, completely getting upended, and it makes sense. I mean, that's Joe Biden's family. That's Joe Biden. He's a pathological liar. He lies about everything he does. It's hard to even believe that he is even have an ounce of power in the White House, because in reality, we all know he's a puppet. So it's fitting that we're in the state of where we are now. He came. One thing I heard. He came into office with his claim that he's going to unify us. He's going to unify America. He's going to get us all together. And you know what? That's the one thing I believe he did. He actually unified us. And against him, because now the people that were Democrat and, people that were calling us kooks, they're now looking at Biden like, wait a minute. Something's off here. Something's wrong. And they're flipping. You have people rallying in New York for Trump. You have all these things. people that are Democrats are no longer playing along with it. So,
because the base, the Democrat base, the people that supported the Democrats were the Spanish, the blacks, the immigrants, and now we're slow.
Mm-hmm.
We're slow a little. We're not up to speed. Why? Not that we're dumb. It's that we're so busy, like he said. This is the tactic.
Look here.
Look here.
Look here.
Look here.
Look here.
Look here. And we're not noticing because we're so preoccupied with that.
But, I mean, we already forgot about Obama's chef that died miraculously in a 3 feet of water.
And nothing was done about it.
Nothing.
I talked to a guy in a car, and he was telling me, look, I'm tired of Joe Biden pandering to me. Pandering. He's going to do this for me. He's going to do that for me. He's going to do that for my people. And him not doing anything, just using us for our votes. And I said, you know what? Barack did the same thing.
That's what I was about to say. In all fairness, he's just the last person to do it.
But,
I mean, how many decades since the slavery have they been promising things, and where is this promise ever coming to fruition?
And I was telling him, you know what? Barack did this same thing. He was like, you know what? I kind of tend to agree with you. I got seduced by his swag and his smooth talking. So I go, let me tell you something. You might have been a Barack fan, but let me tell you, Barack is as evil as Biden, if not even more evil than Biden.
Of course.
And then he was like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, there's a lot of funny things that has happened. Did you hear about the chef that died? He was like, what? No, Google it right now.
Mm-hmm.
He Googled it. He was like, holy shit, I didn't know about this.
And that's how they operate. They go from news story to news story. Have you looked this? Have you looked left? Have you looked right? What's going on? You can't make it right.
So the reason that the people are waking up, because we're slow, because we're trying to pay bills. But once you hit us in the pocket, we're like, wait a minute. That wakes you up.
Well,
when I'm accustomed to paying $100 in light bill, and now my light bill is $450. When you're accustomed to paying $2.99 for a dozen of eggs, and now you're paying $10,
or accustomed to paying, $600 for 6 months of car insurance, and now it's balloons to $1,300.
Right. So when your pockets start hurting, and now your pockets are hurting, and the worst thing you can do is take food out of your children's mouth. Because I can go hungry, but I'll be damned if my grandchildren are hungry. That's going to affect me.
Of course.
And that's my grandchildren,
right,
let alone the parent.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're feeling that sting in our pocket. We don't care if you had sex with a porn star. We don't care what you did.
So did Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton.
Well, you know what?
And JFK and.
But you know what? These are things when times are good and your pockets are full, your children are fat, you can nitpick. Maybe this guy's not too good for our country. He's messing around and his wife. But when your pockets are hurting and you can't pay rent and you have to move into your parents, split your family, and you can't afford food, you're like, I don't care what Donald Trump did with this woman. I don't care if he paid. While he was in office, I was thriving. Now he's not in office, and now I'm struggling. So I don't care that he's with prostitutes and porn stars. as long as my pockets get filled again. I would able to fill my car with less than $30. Now I need now I need 60. Now, if you got a big SUV, I need 80. Now, some of them need 100.
Yeah, or more. Yeah.
So the economy, and now people who are young were like, oh, we thought we were buying a house, but at 9% interest, 8% interest, there's no way I can pay a mortgage. But isn't that funny? Dad was able to buy a house when Trump was in, and he paid only 2% interest. I'd rather have the guy was in power when I had the 2%.
Yeah.
So I don't care what he does with his personal life.
The thing is, I don't know how much Donald Trump is going to be able to do in ways of that factor, because there's other things. And really quickly, so just to go through them, because here's some factors here that people need to know, and we'll discuss it in depth in the next cast. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to go through it here. Outside of Taiwan to conduct military drills, that's huge because Taiwan makes our chips. They're the semiconductors. Without them, we're screwed. You have unprecedented blow. Here's the big one. China dumps historic $53 billion in U.S. treasuries, which means if China's dumping treasuries and other countries start dumping our treasuries, what's going to happen with the value of our dollar? It's going to get a huge blow. I mean, a lot of people that aren't are into finance and know this stuff. U.S. treasuries, the fact that other countries have them, bring more security in our dollar, because
Absolutely.
it shows that, people have faith in this monetary policy that we have. Them dropping $53 billion is not only causing waves, but it's going to be causing an effect where more people are going to be dropping the dollar. And sooner or later, this whole guise of our money being worth anything, this is the thing that a lot of these experts, a lot of people don't realize. But right now, we are in the slow creep of hyperinflation. And just like it did in World War I, where Germany had to, were burning dollars
to keep warm.
We're in that place right now, and it's accelerating.
It's the story where the three housekeepers were working, and at the end of their shift, they left home, and they were like, "Oh my God, we forgot to pick up our pay." Right? Their pay was 3 baskets, 1 basket of money. That's how worthless the money was.
Yep.
1 basket of money for each lady.
Right.
But when they said, we're like, oh my God, we forgot our money, they ran back. They found all their money, but the baskets were gone. The baskets were worth more
than the money.
Than the money. So, I mean, yes, we're in a financial decline. We're not going to be that shining dollar that
we have nothing to back our dollar. We have nothing. We're losing OPEC. We don't have the gold standard. Our standing in the country or in the globe is not going to be isn't well secured, because unfortunately our last couple decades have been raping and pillaging the world. And people are starting to take notice.
And just printing money.
Printing. And doing stupid things like
borrowing and bombing.
I mean, eventually, people are just going to say, you know what? We're done with you. I mean, when you start bombing, an Iraqi, what was it? No, Afghani, what was it called? They were supplying, food and water to local people in the area. and they were an American organization, and retaliation to what happened when we exited Afghanistan, we just bombed arbitrarily some happens to be like these people that are, what do you call those, like missionaries,
Yeah.
you know, that leaves a mark. I mean, people are the family members of those people that died to this bomb that you just randomly, casually just bomb these people. It's the people that are angry are going to get more and more and more and more. And what are we going to do about it? I mean, the people that are coming here through the border, they're going to start realizing, like, what is here now? There's not much. I mean, soon we're the wonderful America that we used to love.
These people are the immigrants that are coming in. They're picking their sides, forming gangs. I could see what's going on in Sweden happening here, where they're
doing what they left, what they're running from. They're recreating it here, and they're saying they're seeing an open market. Oh yeah, this is not here. Let's start this here. And what's going to happen is the same thing that happened to Venezuela and some of the places in South America. America is just no longer going to be this country that we cherish if we don't take care of it.
And then we got a president who's just not coherent. He's doing the rope-a-dope, like, oh, I'm going to, like, now strengthen the border.
And we could put a lot of blame on the president, but there's also blame on us, the citizens. How can we, as there's what, 300 million of us, and only how many of them, and we allow them to do what they keep doing?
Yeah.
Because you know what? People forget that they work for us. It's not the other way around. You know, we don't elect them so that they could be our leaders. We elect them to be our representative, right? They're working for us. They're supposed to be our voice in office and our voice collaboratively. But what we're seeing here is that there is no voice of us. This is what Alex Jones is facing. This is what Donald Trump is facing. This is what a lot of dissent is facing, and what we face here on the podcast. We can't really speak our mind because we get shut down from this place or that place or whatever, and people say that it's justified.
We're just too complacent. And to be quite honest, the young people, which is the bedrock of our society, because the young people are the ones that are going to replace the ones that cannot do the job anymore. These people are not in tune.
No, what this guy said, what's his name? The guy from Russia. What was his name?
Yuri
Bezmenov. You know, he said it. You know, how do you create this ideological subversion? Through the universities. You start teaching this and schooling. You start teaching this from young. You bring this up, and sooner or later, you start realizing that the American flag is no longer in classrooms. It's the LGBTQ flag. And who does LGBTQ worship by chance? Because it ain't God, because God don't have that. God does not jive with the LGBTQ community, because that's going against what he built humans to be. You know, that's not a godly thing. So what do they worship? Outright and proud. Baphomet himself. I mean, to the point where they put it in music videos and they dress up like him and they do all these things, and they know that they're going against God. They're actively worse. They're saying, I'm gay. Well, who is gay? The devil must be, right? That's who they follow, and that's who they're putting up in capitals, in Capitol Hill. They have all these statues of Baphomet going up, and Satanism is on the rise. And, well, this is what you get. This is what you get. You know, this is the ideological subversion that Russia's been working on. Well, we let it work. We let it work. We lost our faith in ourselves, in our humanity, in our And then what do? We bring, we bring our kids around these people that are, hypersexual and doing all these things. I don't care if you like men or women or whatever. Just do whatever you do in your bedroom in the privacy of your own home. You don't see straight men and women having a parade, butt naked in the street, claiming that they're proud to be straight and having sex. Like that has no bearing to be out in public. Do what you do in private. But this is what you're.
This is what we're headed for. Our youth is lost. But with that said, we got to end the cast.
Yes, we got to end the cast. Just really quickly to give a heads up of what's coming in the next cast. Chilling incident as USS Ronald Reagan docks in Japan. The emergence of drones and presents a new challenge for the U.S. military. Drones can swiftly maneuver above, around the ship, collecting intelligence before disappearing. There's things of that nature coming along. Also, we didn't get a chance to go into any UFO news, which is a huge bummer. We need a sound bite for boo, because this is the Paramount podcast. We can't let the political take us away from what we're really interested in. But something that happened: China displays country's flag on the moon. Now, do you believe it? Is this just another pipe, coming out and they're saying it's a waterfall? I don't know, but this is a Chinese flag supposedly on the moon. That's if you believe that they got there in the first place, because I don't believe we even have the technology to get out there.
How did they get that flag on the moon?
It was a rover that they sent over there.
And the rover was able to do that?
Yes. And, well, if you're looking at it, it doesn't look like it's swaying in the wind.
No, not at all.
So who knows? But then also, it's China's Chang'e lunar probe lifts off the far side of the moon. So they're mining stuff. They're going to be mining the far side of the moon. That's coming in the future. China just landed on the moon and released footage. So there's more of that coming soon. And also, a super Earth discovered could be more habitable than our own planet. So we're finding more.
And aside from that, guys, have your heads up to the sky, because we're gonna receive more of the aurora borealis as the sun continues to do what the sun does. And we're right now in the middle of a lot of activity in the sun, and solar flares continue to hit Earth. And if I don't know, there's been a couple of hot days, and you go outside, the sun seems to me a little bit stronger than usual.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really, really hot these days. And really quickly before we end the cast here, here's some of our
Artículo número 1. No le des plata.
Time is short, so I'm just going to scroll on by here. But thank you all for who watched us. We really appreciate you. Hopefully everyone can see this clear on screen. We really don't have the time to go through everybody individual, but we are appreciative of all those that joined. And that's on our paranormal.experience on Instagram. And then if you go over to my profile, you have about 3 people joined us on my profile as well. So we appreciate those that joined.
I appreciate Claudia for tuning in to our show. Hopefully her children can show how she could view the show in its entirety.
And there was a lot more on our X, on our Twitch, on our YouTube, and both our Facebooks. Altogether, we had about 150 people come into the podcast. We got to get those numbers up, folks, because imagine if one day we have 10,000 live viewers. That's going to make us, a lot better to be able to have good conversations. We could do polling. We can test, we have a sample size that we can bring out there, and we can see if what we're saying is something that is resonating through our audience. But we need people to come and show up. It is on us, because we do have fluctuating time schedules, and it's really been difficult to get this cast on a normal time period. But it's unfortunate, but it's the nature of reality. Our families, personal things do intervene. Also, we didn't get to touch on Alex Jones. He is another person that is suffering, so please patronize him as well. He is very, very important in this fight.
Yes.
And he was first one to mention it. This is an information war, and you're seeing it firsthand.
And he, in my opinion, is one of the best journalists on the planet. He tells things 10 years ahead of its before it happens. And Alex Jones, keep the good fight. Do not give in. We back you up as much as we can, and we're in your camp. And with that said, let's get some positive music going and a quick prayer, because I have to go.
We have to get on to the end of this cast.
Turn off the light. Take a deep breath and
I'd like
relax.
to finish with ohms. This is not a cult or a religion. It's just ohms, okay? We're going to relax our breath. This is a meditation pose, lotus pose, whatever you want to call it. Don't be afraid of your own voice. You're in your house, make some sound, no one cares. You're basically massaging the central nervous system, which, trust me, needs massaging.
All right, folks, we have reached the end of the show, and as you guys know, we always end it on a positive note with a om to evoke positive energy, and we also give a short prayer. So this is our short prayer for today. I am grateful for this day. I am grateful for the air I breathe. I am grateful for the life that you have granted me. I am grateful for the sun that shines upon me. I am grateful for the love that surrounds me. I ask for positive energy today. Place your hand upon me and allow me to feel your light, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
And let's evoke this with the ultimate Om. Be safe, everybody. Have a fantastic week. Positive thoughts, positive energy. We will get through this. Let's fight the good fight. Let's do one good deed for a person in need. And let's go back to our roots. And let's be good to one another. Peace on earth. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
And remember, if the universe is infinite,
then so are the possibilities.
And the paranormal is all around us. You just got to look closely.
Have a good night, folks.
Peace.
Economic Forum. I think there was a sense of relief, actually, in your frankness. You brought up some issues that others are reluctant to bring up.
Always. All the religious groups are against me because I'm talking about population. They want more souls. I want less on the planet.
Then blow your head off, dude. I'm not going to do it. Nothing violent against you. Just shove a shotgun in your mouth and blow your brains out, buddy. Pour gasoline on yourself. Feed yourself into a wood chipper. Jump off a 50-story building. Just get out of my way. You want to kill people, big man? You like running your frickin' mouth talking about it? I say God's gonna step on you like a cockroach if you turn the lights on at midnight. You want death, brother? You're gonna get it. You like death? You're gonna get it. You understand that, you little piece of filth?